I just want to give a quick shout out to Twitch
Hasanabi, no.
for losing, like randomly kicking me off the coverage, and I guess maybe changing my stream key in the middle of a fucking stream where 145,000 people were watching. That was a very cool thing that happened. That was very cool. I don't know how that happens. I don't know why that happens. But incredibly cool stuff that happened. You know, lost around 145,000 live viewers, and I'm sure that very cool stuff. Incredible. Incredible stuff. I am very excited that this happened.
I love you, Hassan, and miss you at Hasanabi.
I mean, I tweeted about it, like, literally. This is what happened. Here. Could not access a specified channel or stream key. Please double check your stream key. If it's incorrect, if it's correct, there may be a problem connecting to the server.
Hey, yo.
Like, how? How does that fucking happen, dude?
Pogu.
How the fuck does that happen? That's so fucking annoying, dude. It literally, like... whatever, let's keep going.
Expect over the next coming days, we're going to learn a lot about what was said behind closed doors. So there may have been other arm twisting going on, but I think it's unlikely that that pressure came from McConnell. He made his point clear, and I think the appearance of him trying to strong arm his members is just not the way he would operate, and I don't think he would have thought that it would be helpful, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, Garrett, thank you. We'll continue to monitor what's happening in both chambers right now as they continue to consider these objections. Today's chaos and violence unfolded in one of the most secure and sacred places in the country, as we have talked about. NBC's Harry Smith has a reminder of what it represents.
Refresh, Pogu.
The Capitol building that was so viciously overrun by rioters today is usually as proud a place as exists in America. It is where Franklin Roosevelt steadied a nation crippled by the Depression.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
And where John F. Kennedy called a country to service.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you...
Bro, did they wait, like, did they know this was gonna happen? Like, how the fuck did they cut a documentary already? Like,
trip
crazy.
or family vacation.
Bro, they did an ode, they're doing an ode to the Capitol.
It is palpable. To know
like,
that
yo,
the
it happened
business
4
is
hours ago,
carried
bro.
on there
The
makes your
day is
heart
not even
skip
over.
A beat or two. Through times of peace and times of conflict, through times of want and times of plenty, most of us have believed or wanted to believe that the Capitol was a place where the people's business was conducted. We the people's business. Throughout our history, representatives came from every corner of the country. And as the country grew, so too did the House and Senate. It grew to look more and more like we do. A place where men and women would come to work as equals, where color and origin was no barrier. I have sat in the House
Yo, shouts
chamber
out to the
for a
homies,
State of
the
the Union
Capitol,
address.
dude.
I remember
I
looking
feel
around
so
the
bad
room,
for the Capitol,
from
bro.
the Supreme Court. to
Can't
the
believe
Joint
the Capitol
Chiefs,
died
the
too
cabinet,
soon, dude.
members of the House and Senate, the robust
The fucking
cheers,
walls, dude. The
stony
beautiful
silence,
inside walls.
a beautifully
The
imperfect
gavel.
mix. The founders conjured all this up, and while it sure was more diverse by gender and race
Nancy
than they
Pelosi's
ever
room.
imagined, it was their idea, the American idea. I have stood in line twice at the Capitol to pay respects to presidents who passed. Both times were the same. You'd expect, I guess, the crowd to be dominated by the party faithful of the president who died. But it wasn't like that. Whatever our differences, in the moment, unimportant. Like Republicans and Democrats lifting their voices together after 9/11.
So fucking absolutely shit on Muslims. Just and the Muslim world in general.
Our
A
most
moment of
imperfect
unity.
union suffered a jolt today.
You know, moments of unity like fucking deciding that black people are lesser than white people. You know, moments of unity like that. Ultimately, we could always get together in the halls of Congress and remember that there's always bipartisan compromise when it comes to cutting tax for the wealthy, when it comes to accelerating wars overseas, when it comes to expanding the American surveillance state, that we can cast aside our differences on whether you think women should be able to have autonomy over their own bodies, or that black people are full human beings that deserve liberty and equal protection under the law, or that, you know, we should just execute poor people on sight for the crime of not trying hard enough. We always cast aside our differences to make sure that we could deliberate on those kinds of issues where we could find bipartisan compromise.
Moment on 9/11,
Love you, Hasten.
where
Thanks
the
for
spontaneous singing of God Bless America by members of Congress. And I was thinking about that several times today, and then there it was. It feels like, obviously, that was a horrible day, but that
Alien
piece of
place
it feels like a part of America we won't get back.
You know, that day we were united because it was an outside force that was coming after us. It was coming after our way of life. What makes today so disturbing is it was an inside force. This came from within. Look, this is an inflection point for the country. This is an inflection point for our politics. This is an inflection point for a lot of things. Question is, to what end? Is this going to be a moment that everybody takes this breath and we realize this divisive
Fucking barcode bangs Andy, dude.
You know, it has been an emanating feature of our politics for most of my adult life. It's been getting worse and worse and worse, and we keep wondering, boy, at some point, are we going to hit a breaking point? You know, today felt like that breaking point. And the question is it going to be this breaking point that turns into an inflection point where we have a bunch of people who take a step back and realize country first? So let's see.
Yeah, and I was also reflecting on the notion that as journalists, we enjoy the give and take of politics and the surprises and the jockeying for position. We cover that sometimes like a sport. This isn't fun.
No, it hasn't been, Lester, and I have to tell you, I have been sick to my stomach about it because of that. And it's like, I certainly, I'm not ready to go back and cover regular politics right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, Chuck, thank you. It has been an extraordinary day.
Why? Bro, you literally do what I do. Fuck you mean you're not ready to cover regular politics? What? Bro, why are you suffering? It's not like you were there. What is this nonsense? Like fucking people like Elijah Wood was on Twitter like reply guying Meghan McCain. Meghan McCain was like, I really miss my dad. It's like, thanks, Meghan. Way to make this about yourself. Nobody fucking gives a shit about your dad, okay? You fucking psycho. And then Elijah was like, huh, you're right. We miss him so much. I'm feeling really alone right now. Like, does anybody need a hug? It's like, Bitch, what do you mean? You're sitting at home. The fuck do you mean, dude?
Welcome back.
What are you, a staffer? I didn't realize you were some fucking congressional staffer from Cornell who got a job because his dad knows one of the senators, and now you're literally pissing your pants, fearing for life because some fucking freak flew in from Kentucky and is literally foaming out of the mouth to kill Nancy Pelosi. Hobbit Andy over here. Oh no. I'm really fucking scared right now. Oh no. Yikes, dude. Is Elijah Wood American? I always thought he was British. Maybe he's not. I don't know.
We're getting our kids back to school. We got kids that are unable to get on the internet, unable to participate in their classes, may not have any adult supervision at home. They're struggling. They're falling even further behind. We need to do something to help them.
Elijah Wood looks British as fuck, bro. I do not believe you. When he's from Ohio? What the fuck? Yo, he literally looks like he's from the UK. I won't believe you. What? You're telling me he's from Ohio? That's crazy, dude. Sometimes, bro, it feels like the comment section leaks your empathy to an unhelpful point. I agree with you just about every political opinion you have, but I think your delivery is harmful sometimes. I just don't think that, like, I'm sorry, man. I don't think that, like, fucking Barcode Bangs is all that distraught. That's it. This is live, by the way. It is in the Senate.
At this special moment in our nation's history, we're not a government of Trump, by Trump.
Wait, no, it's not.
And for
Where
Trump.
is it?
We're a government of the people,
Yeah, it's in this.
by the people, and for the people. And the people have spoken. The people have spoken. Our job here today is to listen to them. I intend to do that. And I trust that my colleagues will join me in doing that as well. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
President. Senators recognized. Mr. President, first I want to thank all of the first responders who helped to protect this sacred chamber today, protect those electoral college ballots.
They'll be back.
Today is a special day.
Frogs can't stay away forever.
On a day when some 2,500...
I hate to do this, but it's literally top of the hour, and I have to run an ad, despite the fact that my fucking stream exploded earlier, but it is top of the hour every hour, which is time for a 6-second ad break. I didn't just start streaming.
On this day, the United States Senate is not debating how to get more life-saving vaccines into Americans' arms,
Here's the
or
ad.
how to put 2,000 badly needed dollars into their pockets. No, instead, we are using the first days of the new Senate and Congress to give time to our radical Republican colleagues' baseless and damaging claims of election fraud, all in an attempt to keep Donald Trump in office in violation of the United States Constitution.
Fuck.
There's a word for this. It's called sedition. All these unfounded objections to state electors are seditious. They are nothing short of an insurrection against the established order of the United States Constitution and our democratic republic. This is an historically shameful day for the Senate and for our country. To be clear, the notion that there are any meaningful voter fraud that has been identified in the 2020 presidential election is a dangerous, anti-democratic, treasonous fiction. Joe Biden won, Donald Trump lost, period. But that hasn't stopped the president and his supporters from making allegations of voter fraud in some 60 legal challenges across the country, heard by some 90 judges, including Trump judicial appointees. Not one of these challenges succeeded. Not one. And despite this reality, my radical Republican colleagues claim we must have a commission to investigate the fraud. Well, we do know one of the most undeniable instances of substantial and significant election fraud ever. We even have a recording and a transcript of it. It's President Trump talking like a mafia boss to the Georgia Secretary of State, a Republican no less, pressuring and threatening him to fix the election in Trump's favor and holding out the prospect of criminal prosecution if he doesn't. Find me 11,780 votes, Trump said. Well, someone should find Donald Trump a real lawyer and measure him for an orange jumpsuit, because the list of statutes that this latest shocking presidential phone call may violate is too long to recite. The president's words on that phone call, indeed his conduct since the election, demand a serious response, one much more serious than the sham before us today. First, federal and state law enforcement authorities should investigate Donald Trump for election fraud, extortion, conspiracy, and whatever other charges fit the bill. And if warranted, indict and try him for any crimes he has committed. Second, we must recognize that Donald Trump is and will remain a danger to our Constitution and our democracy. So while time is certainly limited, we should impeach Trump again and bar him from holding office in the future. And finally, we should abolish the Electoral College.
He should
It is a
be the
vestige
bare
of a
minimum
racist Jim Crow
progressive
America,
candidate.
and we have outgrown it. Every person's vote in every state should count just the same. One person, one vote. Election fraud and reform are very serious issues.
Him and Sherrod
Election
Brown
reform
are like
absolutely
literally
should be debated in Congress.
the
Which is
bare
why
minimum
instead
of what is
today's
acceptable.
kabuki theater,
That's where it
I invite
starts.
my Republican colleagues to stand
And I'm
up
not even
and say,
kidding,
yes,
like-
we need to protect and expand voting rights and election security. We need automatic voter registration.
Maybe even
We need
Sherrod Brown on
online
some issues
voter
is like too
registration.
conservative.
We need same-day voter registration. We should make Election Day
See,
a
I don't say
federal holiday.
charade no
we
more.
should restore voting rights to people with prior felony convictions. We should support independent redistricting commissions. Let's spend our time on the floor debating that, debating how to reduce the influence of big money in our political system, to slow the revolving door between government officials and lobbyists, to stop gerrymandering and voter suppression. That's the real election reform that we should be debating and supporting, not these shameful, craven, baseless objections. More than 350,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. That is the truth. Nearly 8 million people have fallen into poverty because of the economic crisis caused by this virus. That is the truth. Wearing a mask saves lives. Vaccines are safe and effective. That is the truth. Joe Biden won. Donald Trump lost. That is the truth. I urge all my Senate colleagues to vote against these objections, affirm our democracy, and recognize that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will rightfully be sworn in on January 20th as the President and Vice President of the United States.
The senator from Connecticut is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sorry about the outage.
Today was a stomach-churning, gut-wrenching moment in our history. And truly, it was an assault on the heart of our democracy. And I want to join in thanking the first responders and police, but I also want to thank others who have been heroes of our democracy, unsung in many instances. First, all of the election officials, all of the poll workers, all of the members of boards of election who actually counted the votes, who went to the polls and make sure that votes could be cast, and who ultimately stood firm for the integrity of that voting system. I want to thank the judges. There are now about 90 of them who, except for one or two who ruled the other way on a technicality, have stood firm for the integrity of that voting system.
3 months, boy.
In those 60 to 70 cases, except for that one, ruled on a technicality, they went with the integrity of our voting system and the rule of law. Today was indeed disgusting and sickening. It was shocking and despicable. It was heartbreaking. But it was not surprising. In fact, Today's assault on our democracy, the mob violence, the riots, the thugs and goons who were inspired and incited by the President of the United States, all were of a piece with these past 4 years of a president who has no respect for the truth or the rule of law. Donald Trump's presidency is coming to a close in the very same way it began, with an attack on our democracy. In 2016, the Trump campaign welcomed hostile foreign interference with our election, and the president refused to acknowledge that he would accept the results of the election if he lost. And then, again and again and again, he demonstrated his contempt for the rule of law and for
What an anniversary, relieved face.
the laws themselves. He obstructed justice, and he would have been charged with it had he not been the President of the United States. He invited a foreign government to interfere in our elections and find dirt on his political opponent. And most disturbingly, these actions by a president who demonstrated that contempt for the rule of law were met with silence from many political leaders, our colleagues here in the Senate among them. Silence in the face of that contempt for the rule of law and disrespect for the law enforcers.
More numbers are coming in. Originally, I thought it was 3, but now it's 4.
In fact,
I'm also trying to figure out what happened with my stream key, that it, like, randomly and very suspiciously forced me out, forced me to disconnect, and I was delivered an automatic new stream key. I don't know how that happened in the middle of a fucking stream. Very strange. But no, it wasn't fucking CIA. 4 people died in Capitol Hill today from complications, as they said.
And he was enabled. He had enablers.
It's not big media or anything like that. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's really fucking weird that, like, my stream key changed randomly in the middle of a fucking peak stream.
Enabling. But we must also make sure to stop it going forward. And the political stunt that brought us here today offers no great solace that it will. These stunts have consequences. We say words have consequences. And the actions today will have significant consequences.
Calling in the
They
National
are an
Guard,
attack on our
reluctant to call in
democracy
the National
that
Guard because, of
undermines.
course, these are his people who he calls patriots. And even after witnessing the destruction that they wrought, and somebody being shot on Capitol Hill, he talked about them being great people and that he loved them.
And look how long it took for the National Guard to get there. This is a president who, in every other situation that we've seen play out with protests, with riots over the last year, the president has been eager, Anderson, to send in the National Guard. And he has criticized governors if they've refused to do so very publicly. Yet today, he was the one who was resistant to do so. Yeah. And, it's around 1:30 this afternoon, we started seeing people start to breach those barricades. And they were assaulting police officers, getting pepper sprayed. And despite that, still, it took a lot of effort to get the president to not only put out a statement saying that they should go home, because before he was saying remain peaceful, though nothing that we were watching was peaceful. And then he was resistant to the National Guard. That involved the vice president getting involved and the acting defense secretary, Chris Miller, getting involved to actually get the National Guard deployed out there. And it's because of how the president is viewing this pro-Trump mob that was fueled by his lies about the election going there. And he was, someone described it to me as he was borderline enthusiastic because they were going and they were disrupting this certification that we're still waiting on now. And that was the president's ultimate goal that he wanted today with the vice president, with his Republican allies, was he wanted a disruption. And of course, now we've gotten one that has completely shaken Washington, including several of his own staffers and allies on the Hill.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be frank. If it had been thousands of black people marching on the Capitol, if it had been thousands of Muslims marching on the Capitol, storming barricades, breaking into the Capitol, causing mayhem, the idea that the president would have just watched it all on TV is, I mean, absurd. I mean, the difference in the police response. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, defended them, said he loved them, said they were special. You know, there was the last tweet that the president sent that has really freaked people out, where he was defending them, saying, this is what you get when you steal an election, basically, which, of course, this election wasn't stolen, but he was defending what we saw today. And that is just, you know, there are going to be a lot of people who criticize White House staffers and, you know, coming out at the 11th hour to now resign or, you know, voice their objections to the president, but seeing it today has actually unsettled people, and they are genuinely freaked out over the president's reaction to this and how he has responded to what the rest of us, you know, have witnessed.
Right, and frankly, what we witnessed long before this, when we saw armed thugs
what you gonna do when they come for you, bro?
State House, threatening elected leaders there.
It's the bad
boys.
boys.
The president gave him an attaboy. The president was cheering them on. Again, referring to them as great
considered
people, just
judgment.
as he did neo-Nazis, of course, in Charlottesville. So I understand, you know, there are a few people resigning, they say on principle, in the waning.
Yeah, bro, stand back and stand by after the Proud Boys.
Anyway,
no shit, this was gonna happen. I'm glad that fucking Anderson Cooper is like
new. This is not.
I'm glad that he has the processing power and the decency to be able to say like this is fucking bullshit. Despite the fact that the entire day CNN's coverage has been like wall to wall talking about how crazy it is that Melania Trump's chief of staff is like resigning 2 weeks before she's out of a job anyway. It's fucking nuts.
CNN political commentator Scott Jennings, former special assistant to George W. Bush, and CNN political analyst and investigative journalist Carl Bernstein. We're also going to have a panel on law enforcement because there's a lot of questions about. I mean, why were protesters?
Shut the fuck up! Is this true?
Insurrectionists, domestic terrorists, able to penetrate the Capitol like this? Why were there not preparations as there were for Black Lives Matter protesters?
Bro, they arrested 15 people and 2 of them are fucking Washington Post journalists. Are you insane?
Nice prime sub.
Are they fucking crazy, dude? What is the number now?
Help us, Hassan.
Dude, I swear to God, dude, this is the dumbest country. I mean, we have the dumbest process.
An argument he violated it this weekend when he called the Georgia Secretary of State as well, which
52
seems like a lifetime
Two
ago.
of them are fucking WAPO journalists.
I don't know
so
the
that's
answer.
tight.
I know that there are things being discussed. I don't know what the right thing to do is. Tonight, he doesn't seem like, to me, based on the tweets that were removed, that he learned any lesson after this got out of hand today. This is what you get when you steal an election. He didn't learn anything when this happened today. And so if that's going to be his attitude for the next 2 weeks, I'm very fearful of what other insurrection type activities. And that's exactly what it was. It was an insurrection. And it should be labeled as such. I can't believe more people haven't been arrested for storming the Capitol of the United States. And I can't frankly believe there.
Yeah, 4 people died as Trump supporters occupied Capitol. 1 woman was shot by the police and 3 in medical emergencies. They're saying. So we don't know what happened to the other 3 people, but
happy to support you,
I don't know if it was like literally because they were like scaling walls or some shit. I don't know if it was like a heart attack. The Turks need to stop asking me if the PlayStation 5 prices are going to get lowered as a consequence of this. Literally throughout this entire day, we've had 200,000 people, 100,000 people. There's always like 30 to 40 Turkish people in Turkish. They keep saying, "So what's up? Is the dollar going to get low now, or what's the deal? Come on, what's my take out of this?"
Hassle.
And I understand where you're coming from, brother, but that's not how it works. Okay, when you have a coup in Turkey, the dollar might change for you, but the value of the dollar doesn't change when America has its own fucking coup or internal problems. Certainly not going to change the price of the dollar.
Because there's recognition that the President of the United States is dangerously unstable. The Vice President apparently recognizes it.
Not changing the price of the PS5 either.
Look, for 3 weeks now, people around the President of the United States have been trying to talk him down, to restrain him. He has been acting, in one of those people's words, like a madman and a despot. That we are in a
121 Republicans.
dangerous situation with an out of control, unstable President of the United States. And there is now recognition in the cabinet, in the White House staff, on Capitol Hill among Republicans.
The Medicare for All bill has 118 co-sponsors.
A danger, not
121 Republicans in the House.
Of the United States, but really to all of our democratic institutions, and as well,
that's crazy.
He does have military abilities, and this began in some ways 3 weeks ago, maybe 4. There was a attempt by the president that he had to be talked down.
According to this YouGov data,
stared down by
that's a snap poll.
People at the Department
okay. So snap polls are not the most reliable. So this will change. But according to the snap poll on U.S. Capitol breach, 62% of voters see it as a threat to democracy. 71% oppose it. Although Republicans split, 66 say Trump is to blame. By 50 to 42 think it's appropriate to remove Trump from office immediately. But 6 out of 10 voters see the storming of the U.S. Capitol as a threat to democracy.
Hi.
32% do not see it as a threat. 68% of Republicans do not see storming the Capitol building as a threat to democracy, dude. What is this country, dude? Joe Biden can reach across not every aisle. Joe Biden can find every aisle in the country. He could be an island of his own, reaching across it over and over again. Okay? There is no uniting these sick fucking hogs, dude. There is no uniting the country. And that is deliberate, by the way. The only way to unite this country is by class positions, okay? And that's not going to happen anytime soon because Democrats and Republicans both do not want that to happen. And even that would take a fuckload of time. That's crazy, dude. That's fucking insane. Fox News, dude. Fox fucking News. One in five voters, including 45% of Republicans, support what is happening at the Capitol building. 45% of Republicans support. 21% of registered voters. 2% of Democrats. It's kind of weird. Where do they find that guy? 45% of Republicans support it. 43% of Republicans oppose it.
To 1 million follows. Pogu.
One of the hogs tased himself and had a heart attack. You hate to see it, dude. Someone else died today at the Capitol Hill. He tased himself on accident and had a heart attack. That's a thought. That's a one thought and one prayer for me, boys. Okay? That's a one thought, one prayer, and one yike. I mean, listen, I feel bad for the victim of police brutality, despite the fact that she's a fucking QAnon supporter. But if you're tasing yourself, like, you know, it's kind of dumb, bro. Like, shit.
Hey Hussein, there was a gamble about whether the yays will hit 99. The bet
Video a day of chaos at the Capitol, my comprehensive report.
Pro-Trump protesters, their ranks likely augmented by far-lefters.
Wait, there's no way this is from, oh my God. Sinclair reporter is saying that this is like far right and leftist protesters? Bro, these people are fucking disgusting, dude. Hold on, I gotta see if there's the woman getting shot, if she's like... These freaks will post that shit sometimes.
Potato Hassan broken by hog videos.
Pro-Trump protesters, their ranks likely augmented by far-left infiltrators.
No! There is no such thing as like their ranks augmented by far-left infiltrators, dude. There's no, like, no! No, you can't lie like this, man. What the fuck are you saying?
Radical himbo Ajahn Pekka.
Oh my God. They're literally telegraphing like, I am a Trump supporter. I love being a Trump supporter. I am doing this crime because I love Donald Trump. And I'm doing it because of my love for Donald Trump, who said we should storm the building. Like, that's literally what they're doing. And Sinclair Broadcasting is still like, Well, actually, it seems like their ranks were augmented by the violent Antifa. See, there's a black one over there. Clearly, that's not a Trump supporter. He seems like one of those bad guys.
This shit
started clashing with Capitol Police before 2 p.m. Eastern. D.C. police said the rioters used chemical sprays against the officers to breach the historic building.
We've never seen this before.
Yeah, see, please point to me which one is the radical Antifa.
Now you're seeing that this
Is it that guy? Is it that guy? Is it that guy? That guy? That guy?
You see it.
It's all of them, brother. Radical Antifa, they wear Trump supporting hats that they got after fucking our wives, brother. Listen, stay woke. These fucking Antifa, they're out here after a day of polishing the boots of the police force. A wonderful thing I do for free, by the way. I come back home to see my wife having sex with someone who's Antifa. He runs out of the house hiding his wee-wee with my favorite Trump hat. That's how we got it, folks. I hear this all the time. Me and the boys built our own Facebook group called Radical Divorced Dads. And we talk about how our wives fucked radical Antifas and they stole our MAGA hats so they could storm the Capitol building.
Not to face the statues.
But the protesters did inflict some damage, roaming the hallowed halls seemingly at will, with even the office suite of Speaker Pelosi.
That must have been a radical Antifa activist, Marxist, Leninist revolutionary, I think. Fucking wish Antifa could organize like that, but they can't.
Pelosi compromised.
They broke the glass. Everybody stay down. Get down.
As terrified spectators watched from the House gallery, Capitol Police drew their firearms close to the House floor. On the Senate side, protesters ran wild on the floor. One young man brazenly occupied the same chair Vice President.
He must have been Antifa. Like, he literally looks like, look, he doesn't look all that white to me, folks. Brother, he doesn't look all that white to me. He might be Antifa. I think he's not all there. He must have been Antifa, brother. Seems like it.
Pence had an hour earlier.
He's wearing a mask. Everybody knows masks make you Antifa.
When he presided over the Republicans' truncated challenge to the certification of the Electoral College vote.
And it will stand in recess until
Lawmakers in both chambers were evacuated.
Get down under your chairs if necessary, so we have folks entering the rotunda.
In Wilmington, President-elect Biden called the violence at the Capitol a god-awful display, an assault on the rule of law, chaos unlike anything we've seen in modern times.
It borders on sedition. I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege.
Minutes later, at the White House, President Trump released a video that repeated his baseless claim the election was stolen from him before imploring his supporters to stay peaceful and, quote, go home.
We love you. You're very special, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace.
On social media, images surfaced showing that at least some of the protesters who breached the Capitol were previously photographed earlier this year, taking part in BLM and Antifa actions as far away as Arizona.
I mean, just make shit up. Like, it's fucking tight, dude. Literally, just pog. Just make shit up. This goes out to all your grandpappy and grandmammy's broadcast, by the way. Just fucking make shit up, dude.
Photographed earlier this year, taking
Antifa must have done this. Yeah, right, dude. If it was Antifa, you know the cops wouldn't be fucking hugging and kissing him like they did the entire way.
Part in BLM and Antifa actions as far away as Arizona, the very state whose electoral college votes were being.
I love this, like, this radical Antifa guy who is, you know, both incompetent, like can't hold a job, but also so competent that he can be in Arizona doing terrorist activity and then fly all around the country and do terrorist activity in D.C. as well. Yeah, they're all Antifa. You should arrest them. You should throw them in jail. Like, They're all radical Antifa. You should arrest every single person that went into Capitol Hill today. Throw them in jail. Let them rot. Those radical anti-fascist terrorists. You know? Fuck it, dude. Fuck it. Just throw them in jail, brother. Throw them under the jail, as a matter of fact. I hate Antifa. Those Antifa. Oh, no. You got to fucking really... You got to give it to them hard, dude. You got to beat the shit out of them, right?
Vosh bad.
I'm just saying, if they're Antifa, y'all better start acting like it. Yeah, I heard that, well, this is Daily Caller, so it doesn't fucking matter. Man, wild is if true. Wait, this is early. It's a terrible reporting on Twitter from fucking Daily Wire, of course. No, Antifa did not invade the Capitol today, despite what Trump's supporters say. One of them is Jake Angeli, also known as a QAnon shaman. Even with no facial recognition software, his Viking hat and face paint is easy to spot. Angeli's photos are everywhere. Wait.
Love you, man.
Wait, that's not a fucking Black Lives Matter supporter, though. Yeah, he was a fucking pro-Trump counter-protester, dude. Here's the uncropped image for you, Q sent me. That's Jake Angeli, by the way. And an actor in MAGA. Yeah, he literally has a QAnon. Dude, these people are such scumbags. Look at the way they cropped the photo. They cropped the photo to get the Q out of it, dude. Like, they are aware. They are literally aware of the fact that, like, their own freaks, their own sick fucking freaks are so easily identifiable that they cropped it out. You are such a scumbag. That is next level shit. That's when Nazis are self-aware enough to know that they're Nazis, so they will literally use, like, their Nazi-ness to infect you and make you look bad. Like when Richard Spencer was like, oh yeah, I'm voting for Joe Biden. Because like he knows he's a Nazi. Everyone else knows he's a fucking Nazi. So he's literally like, fuck it. Like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden to try to like hurt him by word association. Like that's the level that these sick freaks are at, where they know QAnon freaks are completely delusional, completely fucking lost the plot. And it's easily identifiable. So they crop out the fucking Q. It's just Twitter cropping? That's Twitter cropping? That's Twitter cropping?
Guess who's back again? Zen is back, wasn't banned.
Here's the uncropped image for you, Q sent me. That's Jake Angeli, by the way. He's an actor in MAGA from Phoenix. That's such suspicious Twitter cropping, dude. It's so weird. Yeah. So strange, dude. So fucking strange.
A cool dude. Thanks for being the audio to my visual doom scrolling.
Anyway, it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. But that didn't stop Matt Gaetz from fucking following through with it. Yikes, dude. They're disgusting,
bleed purple,
dude.
Bleed purple, bleed purple.
Absolutely disgusting. This situation is so bad that trying to blame Antifa is their only option. They have to attempt to disown their own. Yeah. I just know that I would never be able to get away with this. Like, I literally know. Like Nicholas Fuentes, who's a fucking Nazi, and so is Baked Alaska. They can get away with it. They can literally live stream it. What? Nothing will happen to them. They're Nazis. Nothing will happen to them. If I did this shit, dude, oh my God. Every fucking Fox News, like, every CNN would call me out, banned from every platform. I guess they're already banned from every platform, too. They're just on D-Live at this point. But still. Muslim terrorist. Muslim socialist terrorist. Destroys government property, steals secrets. Is he sending it to Russia, which is, of course, the #1 communist nation? China, the #2 communist nation? Or is he sending it to Muslim Turkey? Where will he take the government secrets? Iran, probably. Most likely Iran.
But tonight, with the Capitol and a nation shaken to the core, members of Congress were undaunted, going back to business that was interrupted this afternoon, counting the Electoral College votes to declare Joe Biden the country's next president.
Casey Hunt walking us through just this remarkable day. It's almost hard to believe we experienced all that in one day, and it continues right now, as we've been showing you in the House and Senate. Members debating objections that have been laid down by some Republicans to the counting, the formal counting of the electoral votes. You'll note my partner, Savannah Guthrie, has taken her leave. You'll see her tomorrow morning on.
I don't care, dude. All right.
Both the president and vice president has played out, even in President Trump's rally recently on Monday in Georgia, when he said that he's a great guy, but he's going to like him a little bit less if he didn't get done what President Trump was asking him to do, which was not possible based on the structuring of the Constitution.
What?
And Trish Turner, I'm going to bring you back in to finish your thought. I'm sorry I interrupted. We were thinking that maybe there was about to be some action on the floor. Do we still have Trish?
Yeah, I'm here. So essentially what you're seeing here, so they'll get started right away with certifying the ballots. They'll pick right up where they left off. And we're really going to run through the Georgia objection. We don't expect senators to join in. But then we're going to get to Pennsylvania. And we do believe at Pennsylvania, Senator Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri, he is going to join with House Republicans on that objection, which should trigger another withdrawal to the chambers for a debate and vote. We think that period of debate and vote is going to go very quickly. So we'll see how that goes. And that might be the only objection that a senator joins until the end of through the end of the evening. So that should be about it. It really is, they're on a glide path to certifying or to ratifying the Electoral College certification for Biden, and it's just a matter of how long it will take to get there. We're still some number of hours away, but we know that that's coming.
And again, just want to recite the words that we heard from Vice President Pence at the beginning of this evening's session when he said,
I think one of the funniest things about this entire process, though, has literally been the fact that, like, Donald Trump didn't lose once.
Thanks for everything you
like, despite all the fucking horrible things that have happened, Donald Trump didn't only lose once. Like, he lost over and over and over again. Like, if there's any solace in all of this commotion and all this pain and all this frustration with Republicans denying reality over and over again, with so many people feeling lost in the sauce, there is at least one funny thing, and that is that he took literally the most L's. Like, it's like he didn't lose just one time. Like, he could have just, like, lost one time, shut the fuck up, got over with it, lost gracefully, we would have forgotten about it. But he just lost over and over again, and so publicly. Copium is a hell of a drug where it can even tempt you to raid the Capitol. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
The joint session of Congress to count the electoral vote will resume. The tellers having taken their seats, the two houses retired to consider separately and decide upon the vote of the state of Arizona to which an objection has been filed. The Secretary of the Senate will report the action of the Senate.
In the Senate of the United States, ordered that the Senate, by a vote of 6 ayes to 93 nays, rejects the objection to the electoral votes cast in the state of Arizona for Joseph R. Biden for president and Kamala D. Harris for vice president.
The Clerk of the House will report the action of the House.
Ordered that the House of Representatives rejects the objections to the electoral vote of the state of Arizona.
Pursuant to the law, Chapter 1 of Title 3 of the United States Code, because the two houses have not sustained the objection, the original certificate submitted by the state of Arizona will be counted as provided therein. The tellers will now record and announce the vote of the state of Arkansas for president and vice president in accordance with the action of the two houses. This certificate from Arkansas, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and that is annexed to it a certificate from an authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Arkansas seems to be regular in form and authentic. And it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of
As literally a child, 2 children in an adult suit.
appears to be regular in form and authentic?
Hearing none.
Hearing none. This certificate from California, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state.
How do you get in there?
That has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of
We got him, boys.
to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of California, I would say the great state of California, seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware received 55 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 55 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of the vote of the state of California that the teller has verified appears to be regular in form and authentic? Hearing none. This certificate from Colorado, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and that has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Colorado seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware received 9 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 9 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of the vote of the state of Colorado that the teller has verified appears to be regular in form and authentic? Hearing none. This certificate from Connecticut, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and that has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of that state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Connecticut seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware
Bro, of
received
course this shit's boring as fuck. What do you expect? What do you want him to dance around? In the beginning of this day, you watched Bedlam happen. It doesn't get any better than that. Like, there's not going to be like high stakes. It's Senate. It's boring procedures that you literally never ever in a million years would ever watch on camera.
Hearing none.
And that's what Donald Trump has created in America, like a sense of unease and unrest, so much so that you like literally have to see with your own two eyes that these old fucks are doing the right thing. Things that you would never think about. That's why in some instances direct democracy is boring as shit. Like you wouldn't be able to function as a society if the government couldn't just like do this boring paperwork shit on their own.
Received 3 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California.
Here, I'll make it more fun for you. I'll make it spicy.
A roll call of the 50 states as there is a ratification of the electoral certification. All seems to be going pretty smoothly at this point. There is a question about what will happen with Pennsylvania and Georgia, where we were expecting to have some objections in at least those 2 additional states, but as many of us learned today, secondary, tertiary to the news of the storming and breaching of the Capitol building, that Kelly Loeffler did lose her seat, and she no longer plans on objecting based on the breaching of the Capitol building today. So no word what will happen in Georgia, if there will be any objections. I want to bring back in Ben Siegel at this moment. And Ben, give us a sense. We heard earlier that there has been a lot of chatter on the Hill about potentially the invoking of the 25th Amendment. Is that really at all a possibility?
Lindsay, I think what you're hearing from Capitol Hill among Democrats today is exasperation and frustration that the president could incite something like we saw today and have essentially nothing happen to him except getting banned from Twitter for a couple hours. They want accountability for this. There's nothing like this has ever happened in the history of our country. They believe the president is responsible, and they think he should be removed from office. Now, there are 2 weeks left in his term. Impeaching him is pretty impractical, and as we saw last year, they don't have support among Republicans for him to actually convict President Trump and bar him from holding any future office. So there's been a lot of conversation around encouraging members of the administration, the vice president, to consider invoking the 25th Amendment. That would require, a majority of the cabinet and the vice president to make the determination to Congress that the president can no longer discharge his duties. And it's hard to believe that members of the president's cabinet, as privately disgusted as many of them might be with what happened today, will have the stomach to go on the record and say that this president should no longer serve, especially given how close we are to the inauguration and the president's term being over. And Republican Senator Mitt Romney was just asked about this, and he's really been the most aggressive critic of the president today. And he said impeachment is just not enough time on the calendar for that, and the 25th Amendment is also something that just does not work out with the timeline between now and January 20th. He just told reporters, I think we have to hold our breath for the next 20 days, and that might not be enough for Democrats on the Hill, but again, they would need the support of Republicans either on the Hill or in the administration.
We're going to listen now. There is an objection in Georgia.
Change the state's election process without approval from the General Assembly, and thereby setting the stage for an unprecedented amount of fraud and irregularities, and I have signed the objection myself.
Sections 15 and 17 of Title III of the United States Code require that any objection be presented in writing and signed by a member of the House of Representatives and a senator. Is the objection in writing and signed by a member and a senator?
Mr. President, prior to the actions and events of today, we did, but following the events of today, it appears that some senators have withdrawn their objection.
Get fucked, you fucking animal! Get fucked, you dog!
Have withdrawn their objection in the state of Georgia to what you just described as an unprecedented amount of fraud.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained.
Fucking QAnon,
Section 18 of Title III of the United States Code.
CrossFit ass, psychotic fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene, who probably got excited when all of her fucking best friends were storming the halls of Congress. She was probably like, oh fuck, where's my AR-15? Quick, I need to shoot some of these congresspersons.
Constitution following the letter of the law.
From an authority of that state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Hawaii seems to be regular in form and authentic. And it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware.
And I do want to interrupt this roll call
again
to pass along some breaking news that we have. We are learning now that 4 people have died as